All right, the One Star Cowboys podcast is back. Post-game edition. Cowboys 30, Panthers 14. The Cowboys improved to 6-8 on the season. Jon Machota and Saad Youssef are live in North Carolina. Kent Garrison here as well. Make sure you check out Jon and Saad and Kent's work over at The Athletic. We'll start with you, Jon. Clearly, kind of a weird Cowboys blowout. Don't get a lot of those. To me, kind of upended by the Trevon Diggs news right before the game. But what's kind of your first reactions as you sit a few hours after the game?
Yeah, the Diggs news is pretty wild because I didn't think it initially was going to be that bad. I mean, he was able to play last week, and it sounds like whatever happened, it sounds like it has to do with something that happened in the game last week. That's all McCarthy would say. So I don't know if it's a continuation and was made worse. They're saying that it isn't, that because obviously he's been dealing with a knee injury throughout the season, or at least for a big part of the season. And so now to hear Stephen Jones say on the pregame show that it's probably like an 8-month type of recovery thing, and he even called, obviously 8 months is significant. Said, that surprised me. I didn't think it was of that level. And so now it's like DeMarvion Overshown and now Trevon Diggs. So that was for starters, and that to me kind of stood out more than the game, just because of the fact of, the team's playing the Panthers. We kind of see where the season's going, but with the Diggs thing, that kind of surprises you. I can't say that there's a lot of things in the game that surprised me. I mean, Rico ran the ball well. We expected that to happen against the NFL's worst rush defense. Cooper Rush had some bad moments, but then he also had some other moments where you're like, yeah, that's exactly why they keep putting him back out there, and they don't put out Trey Lance, because Trey Lance can't make those throws. And so it was good to see the way that they rebounded, because it looked like they were going to go into halftime up 17-0, and for that to not happen and it to be 10-7. But then the way they came out in that second half, Osa played great to force that fumble and kind of get the momentum back on their side. Boom, they score, and then it was just off to the races after that. So I guess my biggest takeaway is just I don't understand why it took to the last few minutes for the Eagles to beat this Panthers team in Philadelphia, or for the Kansas City Chiefs to get everything they can handle from them. I don't understand that. That Carolina Panthers team is not good.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, on Diggs, it's interesting because in our position, we always try to look for clues and stuff. And like Jon said, like Trevon.
Wait a second, Saad, are you on one of the rocking chairs?
I am.
Signature Charlotte
Saad's
Airport.
In like an airport lounge, folks. He's in like a VIP airport lounge at the.
No, I'm literally sitting just in the hallway.
I'm telling you, man, I've been to a lot of airports. That's a very signature move for Charlotte, having the rocking chairs.
Yeah.
Very, very, very nice. But continue. Sorry.
Yeah, no. But we always look for clues, and Trevon played last week. He was, one of the big things that came out of last week when Trevon played was McCarthy and Zimmer both really talked about how much Trevon played. Like Zimmer was like, yeah, we didn't know 90 minutes before the game that he was going to play, and then he ended up playing most all the snaps. So that was big. And then the second thing was that Trevon talked during the week. So that, again, that kind of tells you that, like, hey, like, things aren't like season-ending type bad. Like, doesn't mean that he'll play, but, like, and now to Jon's point, I mean, Overshown for sure is not going to be ready for camp, and Trevon probably won't be ready for camp. It might not be ready for camp for at least the start of camp either, because, I mean, you put that 8 months, I mean, you're talking about mid-July at this point. You might give them a little bit extra time to ramp up. So that was definitely the headline out of this whole weekend. But when it comes to the game itself, I think Cooper Rush, Rico, I can't really make him the story in this game when you're playing against the worst rush defense in the NFL and you have 100 yards. I mean, you've done it for the last couple of weeks. It's not that surprising. But for me, it was Cooper Rush and some of those throws that he was making. To Jon's point, Trey Lance is not making either one of those touchdown passes to Tolbert or to Jalen Brooks. And so
he isn't making the one that CeeDee Lamb either. He's not making any of those throws that when Rush on the first touchdown drive that Rush hit CeeDee Lamb, he had him on a screen. Okay, Lance would make that. But then there was the deep ball up the right sideline on like 3rd and 3, and then the touchdown where it was the back shoulder that CD had to readjust for. Yeah, he's not making any of those. Sorry.
Yeah. I thought Cooper Rush was impressive.
Yeah, I think like was funny because last week we had those talks about, whatever you think of Cooper Rush, he probably is a top 10 backup quarterback. The mistakes, the red zone turnovers kill you. And like that game, the Cowboys' defensive stats would look really exquisite without the blown coverage bomb at the end of the first half, where if you don't turn the ball over there, they don't get the ball and make it 10-7. And if you forget about all that and how weird the game looked going into halftime, it's just a dominant performance. And if you think about how bad 2020 was, okay, when Dak got hurt in week 5, to have already matched that number of wins is a little shocking given what we've been through. Now, I am not that crazy to look at things and go, we beat the Panthers, we beat the Giants twice. Like, you look at the wins and the quality of victories, you see that they're not very good either. But Saad, you said something I want to stick on. This is you said you don't make Rico the story. Should it be, though, a bigger story that we've talked about devaluing the running back? How many wins does this team have if from week 1 they are committed as Rico Dowdle is our starting running back and there aren't any weird games being played at that position? Like, is that the difference in being 7-7? Is that the difference in being 8-6? Am I crazy to think that might have mattered?
Crazy to think 8-6. You're crazy to think 8-6. 7-7 is a possibility, certainly. The thing I will go back to is I hate to. We know the result, and I just. When I come off doing this, sometimes I feel like I'm defending bad decisions, and I'm not. I'm just giving parameters to everything. I do agree with you, and Rico should have been the guy at the beginning, but I do also understand why you would have another back that you'd want to get some carries, because we're not going to pretend like Rico's had these healthy, long seasons where he's not even a bell cow back, and he will tell you himself the biggest thing that's held him back is being able to stay healthy. So why would you go into a season going, nope, we waved the magic wand. Not only will he stay healthy, we will give him all the carries. Like, let's be real here. So Zeke was the mistake. But having another running back that can get you 4 or 5 carries a game, I don't think that was a mistake. But the person that they decided to bring in with him, I think that was the mistake. So kind of for me looking forward, like Rico, I would be doing whatever you can do that you can afford to bring him back. But I'm also drafting another running back to pair with him. I'm not going into next season going, no, we saw what Rico can do. That's the guy. He'll be the bell cow. We're just going to give him no. You still need to add another back. But Rico has certainly shown you that he deserves to be on your team and have a role next season.
Yeah, and the best comp that I think that I have for Rico right now, for the way that I perceive him at least, is Marion Barber after he broke out. So after Marion Barber broke out, like, I think the Cowboys actually did a good thing. Now, they didn't hit on necessarily these players, but after they gave them the contract and everything, they drafted Felix Jones in the first round and Tashard Choice in whatever, like the 3rd or 4th round or something like that. So that was right after Marion Barber had a big year. So they didn't rest on Marion Barber having that big year. So to John's point, I think Rico, great. You still have to build on that in the draft, free agency, whatever it is.
Yeah, no. I think in fact, I'm probably more in the boat of not paying a running back anything, depending on what he's demanding and all that stuff. But it just, you look back at even just take a snapshot of the game log and you're like, God, well, this doesn't make any sense. He would have his best game of the year in Pittsburgh, and then all of a sudden he can't touch the ball in the game after that. It's like decisions that are happening in September and October bother me in a league where the margins are this thin and where a win here maybe puts you in this type of playoff discussion even. And it really knows me. Now, I don't think this is a playoff team, especially with Cooper Rush at quarterback. Clearly, I'm not saying that, but it's the camp thing and getting the deals done. Just the laid-back nature of the organization is what kind of drives me insane.
Right. All of that, I 100% agree. It's all those things added together. But I just don't look at just one different decision on Rico and think, oh, my God, this season would be totally different right now,
I don't want to take shots at any other outlet. Felt a little contrived by the NFL Network, or were they just kind of going off of some Stephen Jones comments? I mean, what the Micah stuff for me and Rappaport and his Sunday morning news dump, I thought was just weirdly timed.
Especially every time everything Stephen has said about Micah is that they want to see him play his entire career with a star in his helmet. I think there's even a quote in Rappaport's story that he wrote off of his interview with Stephen at the owners' meetings that has a quote along those lines. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it is along the lines of, they hope that he continues to have a star in his helmet, and that there's another quote about, it's not in your best interest to basically allow elite pass rushers to leave your building and stuff. But it was almost like in the TV report, that's the part where they used the headline on NFL Network saying, that. Let me just bring it up on my phone so that I'm quoting these things accurately. I didn't think you were going to ask about this, or I would have had it up on my phone. But no, I'm glad you did, though, because it is a very interesting thing Saad and I had talked about quite a bit after the game was over, because when Micah was asked and the way he was asked, I thought NFL Network was being misquoted, because I read the story this morning.
Yeah.
But if you go to the NFL Network tweet, it certainly looks like, they write on there that, that they're reporting that the Cowboys haven't ruled out trading Micah Parsons in the offseason. So that was the part where I was just kind of like, it doesn't say that in the story. Is there something separate? Was there something said and off the record that makes you, jump to that conclusion? You know what I'm saying? Like, where does it come from for all of a sudden that you're going to go in your story, you're going to put quotes at the bottom that make it sound like, yeah, but Steven, even when asked about it, he's not moving on. They're not moving on from him. But then when you hear the way that it's written on NFL Network, you're like, well, they're making it seem like there's some more gray area. Yeah, the Steven quote was, "We love Micah. I can't imagine there's a scenario where he's not wearing a star on his helmet." So that's all in there too. But when you look at the TV copy, that even has the headline underneath it that is saying that basically the Cowboys haven't ruled out trading him in the offseason. So I understand why he was asked that. That is the league. That is the NFL Network. You know what I'm saying? Like, it isn't, that it's a pretty reputable, reporter. I mean,
yeah.
So I don't know, man. That doesn't make much sense.
Timing was weird to me. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, why this week?
Yeah,
there's been other weeks
because there wasn't any other Cowboys news, and so you have to sometimes you have to do that. I mean, that's it's just, we've seen it.
I thought what was more interesting was what was kind of reported on Friday about the Cowboys being open now more than ever to keeping Mike.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's helping himself a lot, right?
Yeah.
By just going, and this team kind of business as usual, and we'll see what happens.
I said this to Saad during the game. Imagine if I took a sheet of paper, I typed out on it. Well, I'm not even going to say I did it with an old-fashioned typewriter. Spent a lot of time, and I broke down exactly Mike McCarthy's 5 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys, with the results, playoffs, wins, losses. I'll include the injuries and stuff. And I handed it to you at his introductory press conference. Can you imagine you looking at that going, yeah, he'll be getting a second deal? Can you imagine that?
No.
First of all, when you looked at it, outside of 3 consecutive 12-win seasons, outside of that, let's say there was 2 12-win seasons in there. If I handed that to you and I didn't say anything about Mike McCarthy, you'd have been like, they signed Jason Garrett for 5 more years?
This is the difference with Mike and Jason, right? Mike, proven track record. The same reason that got him here.
For sure.
When no one really wanted him in the league. The same thing that got him here. And that makes you wonder, would other teams even in the league want him? I don't know. Yeah, it'd be 4, 5, 6 openings. I don't know. Now that the Bill thing's passed, and we talked about that.
You know what's funny about that, KT? I remember you saying that stuff, and we had discussions about that back in 2020 when he was hired, because obviously you knew his background as well as anybody from being with the Packers. And I remember you bringing that up then. Like, well, would there have been anybody? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know. And judging by the fact that arguably the greatest NFL coach ever is coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels right now because he didn't have any other NFL interest, I don't think it's ridiculous to think that, no, there would not be any other interest. I mean, it just seems like whenever these jobs are getting filled, these front offices are going for younger. So
yeah, the only difference with McCarthy that I'm curious about, both in 2020 and now either, is because we know this wasn't the case with Belichick, but like, would he ever just take an offensive coordinator role again and, just do that? Or is he only going to look for head coaching opportunities? Because I do think he could get probably an offensive coordinator job.
So I disagree with that. I would argue his greatest strength is being the walk-around head coach. I don't think anybody would want to put him in charge of the offense. I think the reason you would hire him would be to be your CEO type. Like, I've seen all this stuff. I do think those are his greatest strengths. Like, I love when he talks about like the program of the off season and during the week. And let's be honest, maybe the best feather in his cap. Well, number one is the 3 consecutive 12-win seasons. But the next thing might just be like today, where how well that they performed in these short weeks under him. He clearly structures things in a way where they're in an advantage in those situations.
Yeah.
So I honestly am more interested in him as the walk-around type Dan Campbell head coach and having a younger OC that maybe even he can meld some ideas with of old school stuff with new school, put it together. But I would want a different OC, to be honest with you.
But I think the interesting thing with that is I think that's what's most frustrating for him. Like the fact that he had to inherit Kellen was clearly a frustrating thing for him at the time as well. It was just something that he had to do. I feel like you can't the way that he's structured right now. I don't know. I think you can get offensive coordinator and play caller, not head coach. But I don't know at this point with McCarthy if you can get head coach but not offensive coordinator and play caller anyways. So yeah. I don't know about that.
I will say this too, though, since he's taken over the offense from Kellen Moore. I mean, has it really been to a level where you're just like, well, yeah, this needed to be the offense when he got the job?
To me, it's not even like, yeah. To me, it's honestly not that different than what Kellen was doing. To be honest, it's a little more stale, I would argue, at times. The other thing is, injuries are all going to play a part of this, but like, if we're going off of, hey, man, guys, the team's really fighting hard in December, and that's what gets you a contract, then the team has met the minimum, check mark. Is that what this – I mean, Forbes just told me this week again, is that the standard of the most expensive franchise in the world is? It shouldn't be. And that's where I kind of get like it's all – and it's boring to talk about in podcast settings like this. To me, it has to be X's and O's scheme related. Make an effing difference that way. When CeeDee Lamb is all you have at wide receiver and you don't have a game-changing number 2, like, consistent wide receiver, can you make it work, And I don't know. Beating the Giants and the Panthers doesn't get you another year. Doesn't get you or another 3 or 4 years or whatever he's going to demand as a free agent coach.
and if it does, it just shows you that when you tie in the Forbes thing, that the ownership is comfortable with the way things are.
Dude, it just hit me. Mike is Rico. Mike is Rico if Rico had a wonderful resume. They're both going to be free agents. And it's like, okay, if they're here next year, cool. If not, I don't know that I can do better than you. Like right now, I don't know if I have that name for you. But
so wait, hold on. You're talking about Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
Do you think Mike McCarthy is a better comp with Rico Dowdle than to Dak Prescott?
Oh, well, one of them is here forever. The contract changes everything for Dak. Remember when they gave Dak that contract and they really didn't have to?
I'm just saying, like.
I mean,
there's obviously there's things
Dak
about both of them.
Write the check.
There's things about both of them that are very good that you're like, well, this is better than the alternative. But then there's other things that where you go, maybe just switching things up to switch things up. It might be worse, but maybe that's what you do. But when you want to be comfortable, you don't do that. You do when you want to be comfortable, you do what's comfortable.
Yeah, it's really funny because John said that to me walking out of AT&T Stadium one day, and then the next day Dan McDowell said the same thing, that Mike McCarthy is basically the Dak Prescott. So I feel like that's a pretty good comp, and it makes sense. It really does.
It's amazing as we record this Sunday night, if you think back to Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time. First game with Parsons, Overshone, Bland, Diggs. We got all the guys. Keep the good mojo going for 3 in a row. And you know what? You play a game and you almost win it, and it obviously falls apart in tragic fashion at the end, and the Overshone thing happens. It's amazing how 6 days changes a lot of things, because imagine if they had won it today. They'd won in like very good fashion, and it's 4 in a row, and then we get Tampa Bay, and they're not looking very good.
And here's the thing. when that was all started, the biggest thorn in your side was going to be at Philly. But after tonight, you look at how Philly just played Carolina in Philly. It wouldn't be that ridiculous to think that that could be a potential game. Much more than a game than you would have thought it would have been before Thanksgiving is what I'm saying. Like, you wouldn't look at it as nearly as crazy. You'd be like, how did one Xavier Legette drop, separate these two teams? Like, these teams should be 3 touchdowns apart. And you just got done blowing them out even after fumbling right before half and setting yourself up for another kind of a choke type performance. And you just go, oh, no, we'll just turn it on. We can we'll beat these guys. But that team gave everything that the Eagles could handle.
Also, by the way, while we're playing the what-if game, I mean, you were 1 2-point conversion away on the last play of Washington taking a loss today against the Saints, too. So, one thing here or there, Legette catches that, and the Amani doesn't do what he did, and then the 2-point conversion is like little things, very practically, and then it's a very interesting scenario.
Do you think that we need to see this from earlier? Do you think we need to see this team in the playoffs, though? I mean, if we're being real serious here,
we're gonna see 2 or 3 teams in the playoffs that don't need to be there. We saw Daniel Jones in the playoff just 2 years ago. Like, it's gonna happen.
That's fair.
I can't believe we're in a world where the Broncos are a 9-win team with Bo Nix. Russell Wilson and the Steelers are a 10-win team, and the Cowboys beat that team, even though Russell Wilson wasn't the quarterback. The NFL's insane. We all know it. But, again, the margin for errors and just not doing everything the best you can, starting at the top and moving down, bugs the crap out of me.
Yeah.
But here we are. We will meet again a little bit later in the week. We'll get a preview episode up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are next on the list, as the Cowboys try to keep the hot streak going. Can they make it 4 out of 5? Saad, John, closing thoughts.
Didn't Kent have something else?
Oh, yeah, Kent's got something. Kent's in the chat. Sorry. If this is about the UFOs, man, I don't know if this is the right spot.
Fellas, there's some crazy things in the skies above New Jersey right now.
I knew it.
Including a sign that says, "We won't stop until you fire everyone." Driven above MetLife Stadium, what would Jerry Jones do if every Sunday someone was flying a fire everyone banner over AT&T? Reaction, John.
I don't think it would do that much. There were those type of antics in Detroit when Matt Millen was running the show, but I don't know how much that would impact Jerry Jones, because I think he's so dug in. And this is the thing Jerry will always have, is that $10.1 billion, and the fact of...
Let me just say real quick, we got a lot of listeners that go to these games. Step it up, guys. If you're really that upset, don't let the Giants be the ones to be upset with their owner, you know?
We had some trash bags. We had some, or not trash bags, the brown bags recently at games, which...
Why?
Yeah.
We get the same record as the 49ers. What are we talking about, dude? We're good.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
Continue, John. Sorry.
No, I don't think it would cause anything. And the reason I say is because I think in Jerry's mind, he looks at himself as, I bought this Cowboys team and look what I've turned it into in terms of the value of what it was when I bought it and what it is now. Then he looks at the impact that he's made on the NFL and how much the NFL is just running laps around all the other sports leagues. And he takes a lot of credit for that, even though he won't say it out loud. He takes a lot of credit for a lot of that. And so I bet you he thinks to himself, like, who else would have done this but me? So why would I fire myself, And that probably irritates fans quite a bit. But that's the part where I say that's the difference between him and, let's say, those banners impacting the Ford family or the Mara family. Like, I don't think that would bother Jerry at all. Like, I don't think he would probably try and find a way to market it.
What about in terms of you guys' final thoughts? Anything that we didn't get to that you guys want to squeeze out here?
No, one thing I'll just say is, KT, your point that really resonated with me, and I told John this too, and we're basically like, these are NFL athletes who are making millions of dollars, and if what we're really writing home about is how much they're trying in December after they're more or less kind of eliminated from playoff contention, not mathematically, I know, but like kind of like, it just really does feel like bare minimum, man. Like, and I know that doesn't happen all the time. We saw it with Jason Garrett. The team was 1-7. Like, yes, teams do give up on the coach, and I get that, but if that is basically what is a top three thing, and it's, you hear every Mike McCarthy press conference after the game, and sometimes even like throughout the week, is, oh, the fight they showed. I mean, what are we doing? Like, I mean, that's fine, but like this is not the league, and this definitely should not be the franchise that is doing participation trophies. Thank you for coming to the game and trying your hardest. Like, damn, that's bare minimum. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I would also add in there, though, just the times we're in right now. We're in a load management era. We're in a, you don't like your situation, not only are you going to quit, you're just going to transfer somewhere else in college. So we are in a time where showing up, trying hard, that can get you in some all-star games. I mean, this is what we're in. I will say it is, but I will say the one thing though about that, when you're watching that during a game, like especially after just how gut-wrenching the Cincinnati loss was, I do think if there was that give up, it just wouldn't look good for a coach that's contract is up at the end of the season. So I do think it kind of helps show that the team is still bought in. So there are signs of that, and there isn't that give up. So there is a little bit there, but I agree with you, Saad. It definitely shouldn't be this major big deal that we're praising and writing 1,000-word stories about, for sure.
Yeah, it's not like Devondre Campbell quit on Kyle Shanahan. Like,
amazing.
You're not going to hear that.
Amazing. Like, what in the world?
I'd give Mike his props though, to go win games. To even win a single game with a backup quarterback in football is pretty crazy. So no matter who it's against, good job. 6-8 for all you tankers out there. Well, 14th is where we are currently on Tankathon.
We good on the score, KT? We getting any trouble?
Oh, you know what? I need to double check that. I think we're in good shape. 30-14 is pretty. It's pretty uncommon. I should have checked that earlier.
Especially Cowboys 30-14.
Yeah, we had. There were a lot of people were picking the Panthers.
I mean, Panthers were a favorite for the first time in 2 years, so I find it hard to believe that there's a bunch of people picking the Cowboys to win by more than 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I saw someone tweet something like, it was good of the Cowboys to go do what they were supposed to do. I was like it was ever supposed to be in hand that the Cowboys are way better than the Panthers. Like, it's not. Although, Mike Zimmer, maybe there's a name we haven't said today who should maybe get a little credit, because, I don't know, Bryce Young had been looking good for about a month straight. And whatever they did in the second half, starting with that big Osa play, 6 sacks in the second half, wow, a lot of next man up happening out there on defense. But
I'll tell you what, though, man,
it's coming together on defense.
That last series alone that Bryce had last week against Philadelphia, when Leggett dropped that ball, like some of the plays he made on that final series are enough that I would say, I'm not saying every team, but just seeing that, and let's say he was going right in the draft, that's enough to get you drafted pretty high in the first round. But if a team, you can show them that, I mean, no, we'll work with that. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's some special stuff there, but obviously that was not on display today at Bank of America Stadium.
Formerly Ericsson Stadium and Gillette. And Saad, before we go, was Big Purr all that you expected? I mean, Sir Purr. Sir Purr, everything you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love Sir Purr, but I have to be honest, man. That's John's best friend. That's John's best buddy. So if you want to ask any Sir Purr questions, I would direct them to the other man in this chat, because he is the Sir Purr expert.
I was asking Saad after the game, I'm like, where do Panthers live? Do they have a den or something? Like, do they have a special den for Sir Purr? Like, can I go visit him after the game?
Yeah,
and they told me,
Panthers
sir,
live?
Get out of here. I don't know. At the stadium.
Where does Jackson DeVille live? I'd like to know. Maybe we'll cover that later in the week. All right, we'll be back. Guys, safe travels. We'll be checking out your work over at The Athletic. For Jon and Saad, follow him on social media as well. And our guy Kent, the Mad About Movies podcast, also was a member of the very popular indie punk pop band, Forever the Sickest Kids. And you never forget it. All right, you never forget that. For Kent, for Saad, for Jon, I'm Kevin. We'll talk to you later in the week. Thank you all for listening. The Cowboys are 6-8. It's the Bucs next, and we'll cover it all on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
The One Star Postgame, it's a whole lot of fun with jokes and recaps once the match is done, from the field to